Hey guys, it's Unicycle Fight here. I want to talk to you guys today about one of the most recent upgrades I've done to my system. Recently, I upgraded my hard drive to an SSD, which stands for solid state drive. Now this is a PNY, it's 120 gigabyte. This is the CS1311. It's available in a variety of different sizes. If you want to get something bigger, like a 256 or 500 something, if you want to get a smaller one for a little bit less, they do offer, I believe, an 80 gigabyte SSD. Essentially, the most important thing when it comes to SSDs is that you're able to fit your operating system on. Speeding up your computer's ability to access your system files is going to cause a drastic improvement in overall performance of your machine. So out of all the upgrades I've done most recently, this is one of the best as far as, or most noticeable as far as my performance goes. This is something I highly recommend. It's not that difficult to do. This also comes with a Cronus True Image data migration software. I really didn't care for it. I don't think it's really necessary. The best way to go about doing this is to just go ahead and make a media disk out of a USB drive. This is easy to do in Windows 10. Currently, I'm using Windows 10 Anniversary Edition. So you're gonna have to go ahead and make a media disk. So that way you can connect up your SSD and go ahead and boot from the USB drive. And then you'll just set to boot from the USB drive on your BIOS settings. If you guys are interested in me doing a video about that, I can go ahead and do that. Just go ahead and leave me a message in the comments. Otherwise, there is a lot of information about doing this. I'll try and leave a link to an article in the description. Moving your operating system over into your SSD and having it as your boot drive, one, it's going to free up space on your old hard drive, which you can easily, unless you have a failing hard drive, you can easily convert your old hard drive and then just put key applications that you access a lot, obviously your operating system, which is constantly being accessed, onto the solid state drive. Here in a minute, I will go ahead and do a performance test to kind of show you guys the difference in how big of an improvement this is over a regular hard drive. At this point, based off my experience since I've upgraded my system, it would be hard for me to go away from using a solid state drive for my operating system. The reboot time I think is under 15 seconds, usually somewhere around 10 for full reboot, which is really good. Recently I did a test on a brand new machine. It was an i7, 16 gigabytes worth of RAM, 1 terabyte standard hard drive with the operating system, and I think it was a little over a minute boot time, closer to a minute and a half boot time. Just to give you an idea, the speed you're going to get out of an SSD is drastic. Easily one of the best things you can do for your system. So I highly recommend it. I've already installed this SSD. I'm not going to go ahead and do the installation process, but if that is something you guys are interested in, just go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. I'll go ahead and set something like that up. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and leave some handy dandy reference materials for you guys, help you guide you through the process. If you're struggling with it, feel free to message me. I'm available anytime. This is something I really like to do. This is a software called SSD Benchmark. We're going to use this to show and illustrate the read-write speed of the PNY solid state drive that I recently purchased. Here we go. As you can see that the read-write speed, almost 393 megabits per second on the read speed and 377 megabits per second on the write speed, which is very good. Now we can switch over to my old drive, which in all fairness, this is a 500 gigabyte Western Digital 5200 RPM. So this is just a standard hard drive. So to give you an idea, a base of comparison, here we go. We're gonna go ahead and run that. I'm actually gonna go ahead and end the test there on the Western Digital hard drive because it was quoting me on the write speed for the 4K files, 15 minutes to complete the write speed, progressing at 1 megabit a second. Obviously the read-write speeds are a little more than a third of the speed of the SSD, but then we get into some of the bigger file types and the Western Digital is not even able to handle those files. They're too much. That was my primary hard drive until recently. Now, after experiencing a solid state drive, I don't think I could possibly go back to using a standard hard drive as my boot drive or running my applications. Currently on my solid state, I am running Windows 10 Anniversary Edition. I'm also running my Adobe Suite, a few other key applications, but mostly that's what you're gonna want to use your SSD for. So all the times that your computer is accessing your operating system files, you're gonna get such better speed out of it and a lot more reliability. When we switch over to the SSD, we're taking out the mechanical component. You're gonna see a huge improvement in your computer performance. I can't count how much of my poor experience with computers have been hard drive related. The best boost in performance you can get for the money would be to go ahead, upgrade your random access memory, your RAM, or sometimes you might just see it in stores as memory. Upgrade your memory and upgrade to a solid state boot drive. Those are probably the two things you could do that would actually increase your performance of your machine drastically. A lot of the issues you have with your computer are going to be either hard drive related or virus related. Just having more random access memory, your processor is going to be able to do its job a lot better. That being said, if you are running with anywhere from 12 to 16 gigabytes of random access memory, RAM, and you're still seeing a lot of struggle out of your processor, at that point it is probably time to upgrade your processor. I would go ahead and see under the supported chipsets for your motherboard what you could potentially look into moving into if you're looking at Intel chips or if you are running on some of the AMD older boards. I actually do support some machines with DDR3. I don't think upgrading to DDR4 memory is worth it, but again, if you have any questions, just let me know. Me personally, I'm always about saving money and getting the best value. I feel like every dollar you spend on your system should be justified, and if it's not justified, then there's no point in doing it. If there's a ratio to performance, I want to make sure that I get the most performance out of every dollar I spend. That's kind of where my personal angle is. I know there's a lot of gamers out there that want to go ahead and invest in the NVIDIA GTX 1070. They want to be set up for Steam VR. I totally get that if you're not willing to wait, or if you can afford that and it's not going to break your bank. One of the biggest things I've pointed out, and I know I'm getting off on a tangent a bit here, by the time VR is very well established, we know HTC has announced they're going to release a new Vive system, I believe 2017. By the time that happens, we're going to see more video cards popping up that can handle the VR and the Vive. Right now, to spend the money, because NVIDIA has one of the few cards, the 1070 is one of the few cards right now that can actually handle the Vive. To spend the money on that seems to me like a waste when you could wait potentially 6 months. Not only is there going to be more content available in VR and more of the kinks worked out, but it'll be a lot more affordable to get into. So I'm very much supportive of waiting on that. When people are looking to go ahead and look for ways to increase the performance of the machine, I personally recommend upgrading the RAM and the hard drive to an SSD boot drive over most other components because I feel it has the best and most direct correlation to increase in performance. I believe even with an underpowered processor, these two upgrades will go ahead and give them more visible results than say like a processor upgrade. A processor upgrade is extremely beneficial, right? Having more processing power is going to give you a lot more capabilities. It doesn't matter if you have, 132 gigabytes of RAM. It doesn't matter if you have everything on SSD, all solid state drive flash memory. It doesn't matter if your processor is underpowered. At a certain point, there are going to be certain applications and different things you're going to want to try and move into you are not going to be able to do. There's no way you're going to be able to run Premiere video editing on a subpar processor. There's no way that you're going to go be able to stream and record and play games all at the same time on a subpar processor. But at the same time, you also need to have the available memory and the available speed for your hard drive. And you're just going to see it more throughout. Whereas a processor is going to help you run super processor intensive applications, a hard drive boost is going to go ahead and be visible in every single thing you do on that computer because your computer is constantly reading and writing from your hard drive. So every single thing you do is going to be a better experience by upgrading your hard drive. And that's why I recommend as one of the first steps to improving your system is considering getting an SSD boot drive. I bought this online on Amazon and I spent $46. $46 is, I believe, a very reasonable amount of money. I remember when these first came out and I became highly interested in them about 5 years ago. I want to say 5 years ago. I believe it's 5 years ago. They were a lot more expensive. It was completely unreasonable to go ahead and upgrade your system on one of these. And there were a lot of bad manufactured brands out there that didn't show that much performance boost. There are plenty of good ones now, Samsung being one of the better ones. Last time I heard, Samsung was working on a multi-terabyte SSD, which is super amazing amazing. And what I hope to see is that we get away from the standard hard drives of today and transition into the more modern solid state drives. They are more reliable, they're faster, and they have less chances of failures. That all is very appealing, and I think it's very worthwhile. So I hope to see that that's what the direction we're going to continue to take. I look forward to seeing the next big thing. The more mechanical components we can eliminate from our systems, the more we're the solid state, the flash drive kind of memory type, and so on, the faster we can make our machines. It's an exciting time in tech, and I'm excited to see what we move into next. If you guys have any questions, please go ahead, leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer any of them. I spent a lot of time researching this in my personal time. It makes it more worthwhile for me to be able to share it with someone and share what I've learned doing the research and taking the time and messing around with all this. It kind of validates all that hard work, and it's kind of heartwarming for me to be able to teach other people how to go ahead and upgrade their own systems rather than just going to a big box store and buying a brand new one and unboxing it. And I highly encourage that. I really believe in empowering people to go ahead and do the work themselves. If you guys have any questions about it, or if this is something you think about doing, go ahead and let me know, and I'd be more than happy to take the time to walk you through it if I need to. If you guys like this video, please go ahead and leave a like. It's just a nice way. It doesn't do anything for me, but let me know that you guys enjoy this kind of content. This is something you like. It's just feedback from my performance. If you guys are interested, I do make videos. I'm trying to do 2 a week now. Go ahead and subscribe. That actually does really help me out. As a new YouTuber trying to grow my channel, your guys' subscriptions to my channel helps out immensely, and returning subscribers, you're great, and I appreciate all your guys' support. You guys are great people, and you do great things. I hope you go out there and do something awesome.